Hi, it's Ileana. So today I'm going to sort of review what questions I have about the Black Operations Group. So remote viewing has been done on it, several different remote viewing sessions. And the questions that come up after this remote viewing has been done is, how can this Black Operations Group justify what has been done? They've kidnapped extraterrestrials. They've shot down extraterrestrials' craft. Some of these extraterrestrials have been refugees from escaping other planets that were destroyed or something happened, natural disasters. They escaped in their ships and they were coming to Earth. That's what it looks like in the remote viewing, and they were shot down. Their crafts were taken, and these beings were removed from the crafts and put behind bars and in prisons, in underground facilities, insectoids. And these beings were innocent. They weren't resisting, they weren't fighting the military commandos. And some of these military assets, commandos, operatives, they've been mind controlled. They've had their behavior changed with behavioral modification techniques. So they're not happy in the work that they're doing. And they can't leave this operation. They're microchipped. So it's not like they can just stop working for this group and leave. There's cloning facilities. There's advanced medical technology where bodies can just be cloned. Potentially, souls can be transferred from one body into another. Organs can be 3D printed, etc., etc. Congress knows about reverse engineering programs. Congress knows about these programs with crash site retrievals of UFO technology and beings and bodies. Congress has held meetings in secret about this. They've enacted laws, secret laws. That's what the remote viewing also showed. So there's a list of things from this remote viewing that is mind-boggling. Like there's pyramid technology, gravitic technology, there's free energy technology, devices. This goes back to the Black Operations Group retrieving Atlantean technology of how to build free energy with pyramid generators. They're connecting that to their underground facilities, experimental facilities, to be disconnected from the surface electrical grids, systems. They have their own infrastructure. They have esoteric knowledge, access to esoteric knowledge, to pyramid technology, to reverse engineer that stuff. And they've recovered Atlantean technology. So they've been operating since 1947. And this stuff has been confirmed through the remote viewing findings, the paper sessions and the whiteboard sessions that David Powell has done. And we've spent about 6 hours going over the paper sessions and the whiteboard sessions, the findings. And there's video of his whiteboard sessions, which I'm going to put a compilation together of that, the 5 sessions. And that's going to be also released soon, so everybody could see the live sessions as he was doing the remote viewing. So everything has been done total double blind. He didn't know what the targets were. He didn't know that other remote viewings had been done on these targets before. He was totally working blind, this project and this investigation. So it's interesting to get some answers to these questions. How can this group be still operating? They're operating in the shadows without any transparency, oversight. They're able to go into third world countries to get gifted psionics, retrieve these people, put them to work in these underground black sites and facilities to reverse engineer non-human technology. The crafts interact with the extraterrestrials, even contact extraterrestrials to try to lure them to Earth to shoot down their crafts with scalar beam technology, EMP scalar weapons, and just take whatever they want. David Powell saw bodies in containers. He saw stasis pods. He saw different crafts with humans on board. The stasis pods, the containment devices. He saw super soldiers, enhanced soldiers being augmented, because what the Black Operations Group can do is, from the extraterrestrials, capture them, study their DNA, molecular structure, take whatever biological things they need from the extraterrestrials, and then synthesize biological enhancements that they can imprint on human soldiers, so they have the characteristics of the extraterrestrials' abilities and what they can do, hence making super soldiers. So David discovered that aspect in the remote viewing several times. How can these humans be so enhanced and augmented, fighting in other solar systems, being able to do this stuff in so many crash site retrievals of different spheres, other craft stuff? David also documented that. So it's fundamental to understand that this stuff happens underground. There's facilities being built, black sites all the time. That's normal. That's been going on for a long time. And I'm not saying it should be normal, that this is okay, because it's not. But for these people to do this is normal and okay. From their point of view, there's nothing wrong with this, doing this. Supposedly, there's two factions of this Black Operations Group. The good guys that want to disclose this and get out from doing all of this, and the bad guys that do this. And two factions of this group. One faction has disclosed this information to Michael Herrera, and this has been remote viewed now. And Michael Herrera checks out in the remote viewing, because one of the aspects in the remote viewing that came up was that there's no way to debunk the whistleblower, that the whistleblower checks out and they're telling the truth, and that several people have gone missing, been killed, or put behind bars when they've tried to disclose all of this information. There's a real danger for anyone coming out talking about the Black Operations Group, what they do. If you cross the line and you disclose classified information, you can be in a lot of trouble. So these whistleblowers are still at risk. Anybody working for this Black Operations Group who tries to come forward in any public way to expose the goings-on of that group, they can disappear. They can be murdered. They can be put in prison. They can be taken off-world, because this Black Operations Group apparently has connections to having facilities on Mars and the Moon with research and development, different classifications of sciences, different quadrants of science development. They have experimental ships on Mars that can just build weapons platforms and bombard the surface of a planet and destroy whatever's on the surface, bases, facilities, whatever they want. And this can get out of control. So those are aspects of stuff that was seen in the remote viewing. A lot of stuff was seen in the remote viewing aspects. And this is kind of like the summary of the remote viewing findings about the clone stuff, about bodies in containers, live beings in containers, a spiritual leader and some kind of a high priestess trying to negotiate with aspects of the Black Operations Group, I guess factions, to reach some kind of a deal to figure out how to maybe clean all of this up. I'm not sure. These are all questions and just, I guess, summation about what's going on here. And the other question that I have is, what are the testing protocols that the Black Operations Group utilizes to test the psionics, the people that can connect to this technology, for reverse engineering the crafts and stuff, work in the R&D departments in their facilities? When these operatives from the Black Operations Group go to the third world countries, Michael Herrera has said he's been told by one of the insiders from this Black Operations Group from the good side that the operatives go to third world countries and retrieve psionics who don't have any other choice and need a better life because they have no clean water, no drinking water, no heat, no food for themselves and their families after disasters or other things going on, terrorism in those countries, that they're offered a choice to go work for this Black Operations Group and utilize their psionic abilities to connect to technology. And some drugs are used to enhance brain chemistry and ability. It's better now. They're not dying from the drugs so much. But before, they would go into comas, they would go into cardiac arrest, seizures, and die. Supposedly the drugs are better now, the technology connection is better, so this doesn't happen as often. But the fact that that happened in the first place is quite sinister and disturbing. This is human trafficking still of these people, but how are they tested for their abilities? What is the testing mechanism? What is it that determines their abilities and how far those abilities can go and what they can do? Which departments are they placed in? Which R&D? What do they do in these underground facilities? What is inside these underground facilities? Michael Herrera has not been able to provide detailed information. What he specifically saw in the underground facility that he went and visited with the insider from the Black Operations Group. He has not been able to say anything. I think it's because of security and safety issues, and he has said what he can say and shared it. And he's working with this Black Operations Group, the good side supposedly, behind the scenes doing something important to bring forward disclosure, to find some way to, I guess, bring this all out and maybe to change things in this Black Operations Group so they're actually helping humanity and not going against humanity, working with other not so good extraterrestrials, making deals and treaties that are unlawful, because this Black Operations Group has done that. And they've hurt innocent extraterrestrials and humans to get what they've wanted. So there's a lot of dynamics happening behind the scenes of what we're not seeing. Some of this has come to light in these series of remote viewings to really show how this Black Operations Group operates and what they do. Like, what they actually do. So that's good. There's many unanswered questions, and the insider who took Michael Herrera to this black site, so far they have not come forward. Their name is not known. Their identity is protected. So there were flight records, public ones, of Michael Herrera. Even the helicopter that took him to visit this black site in the exact location, that's in public record. So anybody with the know-how, like Joey's Not My Name, he was able to look up the records and track the flight exactly where Michael flew from where to this black site facility. So people can look this up. I am not an aficionado of looking up flight records to see which facility that was, honestly. Whatever facility it is, there's underground stuff that happens there. There's a black site, so it's not on the surface level exactly. Michael was taken underground. There might be stuff on the surface as checkpoints for security, landing the helicopter, helipad, some kind of, maybe a few buildings on the surface for checkpoint security, clearing the person to go underground, which looks like a normal military base or just private land even connected to this stuff. But then you're taken underground. You go through elevator systems, go through blast doors, you go to a black site facility where there's military stuff and R&D, research and development, science departments, living quarters, because it's a big operation. Human personnel have to be housed somewhere to operate all this stuff. They have crafts. They have gravitic technology that's just hovering there in the hangar decks underground. This black site facility has several levels, and that has come up in remote viewings and in the tasking data as well. So whatever Michael Herrera witnessed that he cannot say and talk about, that black site has those components, and other black sites have the same components that were remote viewed. Plus, I've gone beyond just remote viewing, and I've run theoretical modeling on what these black site facilities look like underground and what they do, and I've written a whole documentation paper on this. That was the other part of my SRV training and tasking coursework material. Okay, you've done the remote viewing, you have all the data on these parts of what this Black Operations Group does, but how do black site facilities work? How does extraterrestrial technology work? What's in Sirius B? I've done the modeling. How does this work in application? How does this all work? There's ways of doing research to find out how it all works. I have 120 pages of this data, how all this stuff works and how it happens. Yes, it's theoretical modeling, but it's in physical application of what these black sites do and how they're run. This is data that you have to do research on to collate all of this and put it together. Joey's Not My Name found the coordinates of the black site and where Michael Herrera was flown with that helicopter, and he has that info. He cannot say where it is. Michael let him know where the location is. Also, Jack from Cosmic Road knows where the facility is. Michael let him know as well. Those are two people who are highly trusted. So Jack from Cosmic Road actually has a UAP show. And he has been gracious and interviewed Joey's Not My Name, and has brought forth good disclosure. I don't need to know the facility location. I really don't care what the physical location is. I care to see what's underground. I care to do the research to know the capabilities of these black sites. As a researcher and a remote viewer, that's what I care about, the details of the operations, what these people do, how the facilities are run, what the workload is, what they really do. I've put in the time and the work, and I have a idea of the modeling of how this works. So I'm not grasping at anything. I look at research, I look at remote viewing. I need facts. I will not speculate on something. I will do the work and I will do the research and the remote viewing to get facts and to get information that way. I don't care about the flight records, the facility itself. Yeah, even if you know the physical location of the facility, it's not going to help you because you can't get access and clearances to it anyway unless you have specialized authorization, which I do not. I have not been invited by the Black Operations Group or the insider that is connected to Michael Herrera. I have not physically been in these facilities. I remote viewed them. So that's what I based my tasking on for assigning the targets for David Powell. Is I remote viewed this myself, and other students from the SRV course had also remote viewed it. So there was enough data to collate tasking for this project and investigation. You need data to create a tasking sheet for a remote viewing project. And there's data from Michael Herrera, who's talked about it. There's data from other remote viewings on this subject. So that's the data I used to create the tasking and to do this project. There's more information that we need to know about this Black Operations Group and what they do in these black sites that's not public knowledge, but I'm going to keep working on this and bring out the disclosure that I can about it, because we deserve to know the truth, that there's things happening behind closed doors. Congress knows, government knows. There's also corporate espionage happening. There's aerospace corporations and companies who have contracts, reverse engineering technology, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and others. So it's not just the Black Operations Group involved in this, there's others. How this is handled, how this is dealt with is very important. Michael Herrera, I think, is brave to come forward. My concern is that this Black Operations Group has access to off-world technology that does mind control and that does behavioral modification. So any of these witnesses, representatives, or spokespersons that are talking about the Black Operations Group and have met insiders from it, they can be potentially exposed to mind control and behavioral modification changes that they are not even aware of. Because this can be done on such a subliminal level, you're not even aware of what's been modified within you. You think you're secure and clear and that the people you work with are trustworthy in this operation because they're the good guys. But there could be subliminal programming. There could be issues that these people are not even aware of. And Michael Herrera needs to be careful that he hasn't been exposed to mind control and behavioral modification technology. He wasn't exposed to this. This is a concern I have. This is just my personal thoughts on this. Anybody connected to any of that stuff or project work could be exposed to this. My concern is that Michael Herrera's mind is clear, that his behavior is clear of any modification, because this Black Operations Group is certainly capable of altering all of that stuff, and you wouldn't even know it, that your consciousness and subliminal programming has been implanted on the consciousness, on the subconsciousness, on the brain, on the behavior, physical behavior, changes. Those things can happen because they have the tech to do it. That was seen in the remote viewing series with what David Powell uncovered. So Michael Herrera is genuine and honest. He has done great work to disclose this, but there's aspects of what this black operations does that might be endangering him beyond what he is even aware of, because what they're capable of is quite a lot. So that's just my takeaway on this. My thoughts and opinions only. This is coming purely from me and the insights of what I'm talking about. I hope Michael is safe. I hope he gets the results he wants from whatever project work he's doing, because people need to know the truth. And he's brought us a lot of information and a lot of truth forward. I hope he continues to disclose, and I hope that more can come out about this. More information that people deserve to know, that there's high ethics and morals and all of this going forward from this black operations group as well, and the insider who's working with Michael and others behind the scenes. Whatever the end result of that is, hopefully it has a good ending and is not disastrous for humanity. I mean, things can flip at a moment's notice, unfortunately. This stuff is dangerous. It is appalling what the Black Operations Group has done, and that needs to end, because it's not for the good of humanity with the superiority to shoot down innocent extraterrestrials in a planetary zone where there's no safety above Earth orbit. This is not the wild, wild west where you shoot down every craft that comes along that's not human origin and take their stuff. That's not legal or lawful. It shouldn't be done, yet it has been done. So the situation needs changing. Everything here needs to be changed because it's not good. But again, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just here to tell the facts as I know them. So hopefully something is done to change all of this and make it better, fix it. We need results, not just words. There needs to be action, and there needs to be deliberation. Things need to change for the better to help humanity, not work against it. Those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. Thank you so much.